to say this, and I'll sit down. Back during slavery, when black people like me talked to the slaves, they didn't kill him. They sent some old house Negro along behind him to undo what he said. You have to read the history of slavery to understand this. There were two kinds of Negroes. There was that old house Negro and the field Negro. And the house Negro always looked out for his master. When the field Negroes got too much out of line, he held them back in check. He put them back on the plantation. The house Negro could afford to do that because he lived better than the field Negro. He ate better, he dressed better, and he lived in a better house. He lived right up next to his master in the attic or the basement. He ate the same food his master ate and wore his same clothes. He could talk just like his master, good diction. And he loved his master more than his master loved himself. That's why he didn't want his master hurt. If the master got sick, he'd say, "What's the matter, boss? We sick?" He was as sick as the master. When the master's house caught a fire, he trying to put the fire out. He didn't want his master's house burned. He never wanted his master's property threatened. And he was more defensive of it than the master was. That was the house Negro. But then you had some field Negro who lived in huts, had nothing to lose. They wore the worst kind of clothes. They ate the worst food. And they got hell. They felt the sting of the lash. They hated their master. Oh, yes, they did. If the master got sick, they prayed that the master died. If the master's house caught a fire, they prayed for a strong wind to come along. This was the difference between the two. And today you still have house Negroes and field Negroes.
Shalom, all my field niggas. Fuck you house niggas, man. Burn in hell. The total destruction of the Edomite ledger, the biological genesis, the Negro standard, the house of Shem, is defined by the Negro phenotype. The scriptural seal, Song of Solomon, chapter 1, verse 5, I am black like the tents of Kedar. And Revelations, chapter 1, verse 14, hair like pure wool. This high melanin woolly haired standard is the physical target of the Edomite assault. The identity. The Negro is the sovereign. The red Esau Rome is the usurper. 2. The Edomite ledger and the mechanics of civil death. The Edomite ledger is the administrative registry of Esau's sword. Genesis 27, verse 40. It executes the paper genocide through specific legal and linguistic frauds. A. Capitis diminutio maxima, that's CAPITIS DIMINUTIO MAXIMA, civil death. That's Latin. I can't pronounce Latin, man. I got stutter. The ledger utilizes Roman law to execute the Negro seed by reclassifying the sovereign name into all capital letters on birth certificates and slave manifest. The piece invokes capitis diminutio maxima. The result, the living man is legally dead. The sovereign Negro is replaced by a corporate fiction or juristic person. This is the nakedness of the garden a man stripped of his divine standing and recorded as a thing in the book of the generations of Esau. Genesis chapter 36. CS2 Kre v Act 1666. This is the mark of the beast. It's got 666 in it. You get me? CESTUIQUEVIE Act of 1666. The dragon Leviathan, the maritime system, uses the Kestuke V Act to maintain the captivity. When the house of Shem was transported across the Great Deep, the Roman Edomite state declared the Israelites lost at sea. The trust. Since the people were presumed dead, their estates, their bodies, their land, and their sovereignty were seized into a permanent trust managed by the Roman Edomite state church. You are treated as a ward or property because on the ledger you have not returned from the sea to claim your life. The merchants of the earth, Revelation chapter 18. The Westminster Reference Bible identifies the merchants of the earth as the global managers of the Asiento de Negros. This system continues today as the global financial market where the souls of men are traded as collateral for national debts. The Edomite ledger is the accounting book for this global human trafficking. 3. The etymological decryption of the sanctuary. We reclaim the Eretz America through the linguistics of the sanctuary. A. Quisqueya, Hispaniola, the hidden purse. Hebrew, Kise, throne. Hebrew, kiss, hidden purse. Proverbs, verse 1 and 14. Synthesis. Quisqueya is the throne where the tribe of Simeon was hidden from the ledger, preserved in the purse of the west until the time of the end. B. Eretz America, the Americas, the land of the immortals. Hebrew, Eretz, firm ground. Sanskrit, Amara, immortal. Synthesis. The Americas are the Eretz America, the legal sanctuary for the immortal Negro seed. Not Israel. America is the Garden of Eden. The Americas. 4. The deception. The tenth of Shem, Genesis 9:27. The Westminster Reference Bible clarifies the identity theft where it says, "He shall dwell in the tents of Shem," meaning Japheth will dwell in the tents of Shem, meaning living in his identity. The fraud. The Roman Edomite beast has physically and legally occupied the heritage of the Negro. They have called themselves the chosen while placing the true seed into the Edomite ledger as Gentiles and Negroes, dishonored by Esau and Japheth. The false name given by the seed, false names, Negro, Hispanic, Black, Indian, Native Indian, Savage, Mulatto, Moreno, and the list goes on. The beast ensured the seed would discontinue from their heritage, which is referenced in Jeremiah 17 verse 4. 5. The standing of the great Prince Michael. May 8th, 2026. The timeline of the Roman world has expired. Daniel chapter 12 verse 1 is fulfilled. A. Slaying the dragon Leviathan. The great prince is breaking the heads of the dragons in the waters Psalm 74 verse 13, he is nullifying the cess to care v trust and all maritime liens. The presumption of death is over. B. The consumption of the ledger. According to Odebiah, chapter 1 verse 18, the house of Jacob is a fire that consumes the house of Esau as stubble. The execution. The fire of truth is burning the Edomite ledger. Every administrative record of the paper genocide, every birth certificate, every slave brand, every Hispanic mask is being turned to ash. There shall not be any remaining of the house of Esau. The book of life versus the ledger. The great Prince Michael has opened the book of life, the original sovereign registry of the house of Shem. This registry supersedes the Roman ledger. The verdict. The Negro phenotype is the biological proof of entry into the book of life. The tribe of Simeon is being pulled out of the Hispanic Roman mask and restored to the one sovereign Negro stick of Ezekiel 37. Final conclusion. The victory of Shem. The Essentio is dead. The Limpieza is burned. The ledger is empty. The dragon Leviathan is slain. On this day, May the 8th, 2026, the house of Shem is standing. The Negro seed is no longer a thing in the Roman ledger. He is the sovereign king and of the Eretz America. The king has returned to the tents of Shem. The seed is sovereign. Amen. Amen. The resurrected seed, the final execution of the Edomite ledger. 1. The biological statue, the Negro phenotype of Shem. The recovery of the heritage of Shem begins with the physical evidence written in the flesh. Songs of Solomon, chapter 1, verse 5. I am black, but comely, O you daughters of Jerusalem, as the tents of Kedar, as the curtains of Solomon. Comely means beautiful. The proof. The Kedarites were the sun-scorched, melanin-rich descendants of the East. To be black like the tents is a biological declaration of the Negro phenotype. Daniel, chapter 7, verse 9. I beheld till the thrones were cast down, and the Ancient of Days did sit, whose garment was white as snow, and the hair of his head like the pure wool. Revelations chapter 1, 14 to 15. His head and his hairs were white like wool, as white as snow, and his eyes were as a flame of fire, and his feet like unto fine brass, as if they burnt in a furnace. The proof. The Westminster Reference Bible, which is the authorized King James, establishes that pure wool is the exclusive linguistic and biological descriptor for the hair of the Negro. Brass burnt in a furnace is the color of deep dark mahogany. This is the regal image of the Shemites. 2. The identification of the usurper, the Red Roman Edom. We unmasked the architect of the paper genocide using the historical record of William Beeston and Charles A. Wiseman. Genesis 25, verse 25. And the first came out red all over like an hairy garment, and they called his name Esau. The proof. This red Admoni phenotype is the biological root of the Indo-European and Edomite powers. Beeston proves that the Roman Empire was the empire of the Edomites, who migrated to Rome and established the beast system. Genesis chapter 27, verse 40. And by thy sword shalt thou live, and shalt thou serve thy brother, and it shall come to pass, when thou shalt have the dominion, that shall break his yoke from off thy neck. The proof. The Roman Edomite power is the empire of the sword. They used the sword to establish the Edomite ledger, the administrative registry that tracks the seed as property free. The dragon Leviathan and the treacherous claws. The dragon is Leviathan, the maritime old serpent of Genesis chapter 3, who tricked the seed into exchanging glory for fig leaves. Isaiah 27 verse 1. In that day the Lord with his sore and great strong sword shall punish Leviathan, the piercing serpent, even Leviathan, that crooked serpent, and he shall slay the dragon that is in the sea. Genesis chapter 3 verse 7. And the eyes of them both were opened, and they knew that they were naked, and they sewed fig leaves together and made themselves aprons. The execution. The Asiento de Negros and the Limpieza de Sangre are the modern fig leaves. You spell Asiento de Negros like this: ASIENTODENEGROS, and Limpieza de Sangre, LIMPIEZADESANGRE. Go research them. The execution. The Asiento de Negros and the Limpieza de Sangre are the modern fig leaves, the treacherous claws of the paper genocide. They are the legal mass, Negro, Hispanic, Latino, Morano, used to hide the true sovereign Negro phenotype of Shem. The etymology of the sanctuary. We claim the Eretz America through the linguistics of the sanctuary. Kiskeye, Kiske, from Hebrew, Kise, throne, Psalms 89:36, and Sumerian, Ke, earth, meaning the throne of the earth, the place where the tribe of Simeon was hidden. Eretz America, from Hebrew, Eretz, meaning firm ground, and Sanskrit, Amara, immortal, meaning the firm ground of the immortals. The mechanism of the ledger, the CESTUIQUEVI, CESTUIQUEVIE. I can't pronounce that. It's Latin, isn't it? Jeremiah chapter 17 verse 4. And thou even thyself shalt discontinue from thine heritage which I gave thee, and I will cause thee to serve thine enemies in a land which thou knowest not. We didn't know this land. We come from Arzareth, man, from the Eretz America, man. They didn't name America after Vespucci, Americano, or whatever his name was. They named it after a Sanskrit word. The proof. The Edomite ledger utilizes the CESTUIQUEVI Act of 1666 to declare the Israelites lost at sea, presumed dead. This allowed the Roman Edomite beast to seize the people's sovereignty into a permanent trust. So I've just opened the number of the beast for you, like giving it to you free. The standing of the great Prince Michael, May 8th, 2026. The timeline of the Roman Edomite world has reached its end. Daniel chapter 12 verse 1. And at that time shall Michael stand up, the great prince, which standeth for the children of thy people, and there shall be a time of trouble such as never was since there was a nation, even to that same time. Psalm 74 verse 13 to 14. Thou didst divide the sea by thy strength, thou breakest the heads of the dragons in the waters, thou breakest the heads of Leviathan in pieces, and givest him to be meat to the people inhabiting the wilderness. The execution. On this day, May 8th, 2026, the great Prince Michael is crushing the heads of the maritime dragon. He is nullifying every assentiento and every maritime trust. Obadiah, chapter 1, verse 18. And the house of Jacob shall be a fire, and the house of Joseph a flame, and the house of Esau for stubble, and they shall kindle in them and devour them, and there shall not be any remaining of the house of Esau, for the Lord hath spoken it. The execution. The Edomite ledger is being burned to ash. The paper genocide is ended. Final verdict. The house of Shem is the Negro. The dragon is Leviathan. The beast is the Roman Edomite Empire. The Eretz America is restored. On this day, May 8th, 2026, the great Prince Michael has declared the papal genocide void. The tribe of Simeon on Kiskaya is stripped of the Hispanic mask. The Negro seed is sovereign. The hijacked tent, Genesis 9:27 states, he shall dwell in the tents of Shem, the Edomite Roman system. Japheth Esau has physically and legally occupied the identity of the Negro, pretending to be the chosen while holding the true seed in the ledger.